Nat Turner's Rebellion is going to be today's lesson. And it is a very important lesson because it has large implications not only in the South trying to protect its slavery, but also in the way that slaves were actually treated and how they felt about slavery. So, as we go through today's lesson, think about what would be your breaking point. If you think back to the fall semester and the tipping point of the American Revolution, think about the tipping point of the slaves who were being held against their will in an institution of slavery that had been going on for so many years that they were born into slavery and born into slavery, and some of them didn't even know anybody in their family that wasn't a slave. So Nat Turner is born in 1800. Now in 1800, cotton bales, the production, not a whole lot. It took a long time to pull the cotton, get all the seeds and all the parts of the plant you didn't want, and then get them into bags, get them sold, and get them out of there. So slavery was a little less than a million throughout all of the United States of America in 1800. However, Eli Whitney has invented the cotton gin, and that industrial revolution, that technology, is going to create a faster way to get all the stuff out of the cotton that you don't want, which means cotton can now be sent quicker. Cotton can get to the factories faster, and in those factories, they can turn it into the linens and the clothes that lots of people want. So there is a lot of profit to be made. So Nat Turner's born during a time where slavery is about to explode and the population is going to grow. Now, he is born on a plantation. He's sold 3 times. And he is actually an educated minister. So he is used by the plantation owners to preach to slaves. And in doing so, the plantation owners are thinking this guy's going to make the slaves more docile. They're not going to want to attack anybody. They're going to do what they're told. He even was able to escape when he was 21 years old. And after 30 days of living in the woods, he went back to his master because he felt that God wanted him to do that. So his religious beliefs are going to lead him to this rebellion. But at the same time, him being educated is going to be a problem for the people in the South that have slaves and are worried about this happening again. So throughout Nat's life, he feels like God is telling him, like, you need to be a part of something big. You need to be a part of this break away from the master. He hears voices that he believes are God telling him that, the master is a serpent, and you need to defeat that serpent and break away. So one evening at about 2 a.m. in the morning, he and 6 or 7 other slaves, they take some weapons and they go and start killing as many white people as they come across. And by the end of the evening, there's over 50 white people dead. Now, Nat Turner isn't immediately caught. He goes into hiding and he escapes for almost 30 days until he's finally found by a farmer. And then when he's found, he's put into prison or into a jail, and he is able to confess. And they write down his confessions. And there's a lot of questions about whether or not his confessions were true, truly written the way he said it. I mean, obviously, there's no recording devices other than somebody writing it. So there's a lot of questions about that, but it's a very interesting read if you really want to go further into this. Now, of the people that were killed, it wasn't just slave owners, it was women, children as young as like 9 months. So all the people in the South and quite a few people in the North felt like this was a horrific thing to have happen. So Nat is tried. He is hung in a public ceremony to show other people, like, this is what you don't want to do. This is how we handle slaves who do this. But in doing so, the true nature of slavery is kind of seen for what it is. It's like, why would this guy break away? Why would Nat Turner kill people? Why didn't he just escape and run off to the north like other people were doing? Why do you have to kill people? Is slavery way worse than we thought it was? And so the North starts kind of thinking, hey, maybe slavery is not as great as people are saying it is. I mean, the profits are awesome, but what about the people down there? So the South sees this as a huge threat to their way of life. They need to protect the institution of slavery, and they are so afraid of educated slaves doing this that they make it illegal to teach African Americans how to read or write. So you could actually get in trouble if you tried to educate an African American. And that is going to make the South double down on the institution of slavery and the amazing profits that they're getting. So, in about 30 years after Mr. Turner's death, the Civil War is going to reach its boiling point when it begins at Fort Sumter. So, what I want you to do, you don't have to write anything down. This isn't an extra assignment. Just be thinking, what are some ways that a slave might resist their enslavement? Think about your list in order of most effective to least effective. And then think about this: a slave murders his owner. Is this murder justified? Obviously, Nat Turner felt it was. The judicial system of Virginia at that time felt it wasn't. What are your thoughts?